Hello, everyone. Welcome to our weekly Subspace Developer Sync. I will just go over some of the highlights from the week. Main one is an update on Gemini 3D. We were hoping, I think, last week to get a community and public launch out. That did not happen. We did find some problems in our internal testing with the DSN. Shamil's been working diligently to get those fixed. I'm sure he'll mention them on the call today, but if you want a lot of details, go to the core protocol sync. There was an exhaustive conversation on that. So my week last week was spent at the leadership offsite. There's a lot that came out of that. A lot of work was done, of which I'll be kind of refining and communicating. I'll give some more details kind of later this morning. And related to one of the topics, just pull up the chat GPT real quick. One of the main topics of the week was AI. And as you guys know, I often use AI to try and help me get jokes for the week. Though it's been somewhat disappointing, but through today kind of what my process was on that, just for fun. So with chat GPT-4, I asked it with a real simple prompt, give me a joke relating to blockchain engineering. What it gave me was, why did the blockchain engineering club? Because he knew how to make a decentralized joke, which I didn't think was very funny. It was kind of like, so I said, any more? He said, sure, there's another one. Why do blockchain engineers always carry a notebook? It's because they never want to miss a single block. And again, I'm not sure that was funny. So I said, these aren't funny. I think you're trying for double meanings, but aren't getting there. Can you try again? Apologies for that. Let's try again. Why don't blockchain engineers trust banks? Because they prefer to put their trust in cryptographic hash instead of a piggy bank. I said, maybe better, try again. I appreciate your patience. It's very polite, by the way. Attempt. Why did the blockchain engineer become a gardener? Because experts in pruning branches and growing chains. So improvement. We got a double meaning finally, but growing chains wasn't. So I said that was better. Pruning branches has an applicable double meaning. However, growing chains. Thank you for feedback. I'll try to improve. Why did the blockchain engineer become a gardener? Because they're experts in pruning branches and I said, does cultivating consensus have a double meaning? And it says yes. And then I'm not going to read the whole thing, but basically, it was trying to tell me that it wasn't being logical. So I asked it, how do you cultivate consensus in a garden? Because that was the double meaning I was looking for. It says, you're right. Upon further reflection, the double meaning in the joke doesn't hold up as well as I initially thought. Cultivating consensus does not have a direct parallel in gardening. My apologies for the confusion. Here's an alternative that might work better. Why did the blockchain engineer become a gardener? Because they know the importance of a well-designed. So that's the joke for today. And it was interesting because, I think it was interesting on a lot of fronts, but it takes a lot of prompting, but it got to a better joke, maybe not a great joke, but a better one than I would have gotten to on my own, because I lack a sense of humor in a creative fashion. But I think all of us can kind of see a sense of humor and kind of understand what you're trying to do. And with a little bit of help, ChatGPT kind of got there. So anyway, with that joke, I will then move on to Nazar.
Hello, folks. Last week was interleaved between working on implementation of consensus, and I was able to get some things done. There is theoretically working, but there are a few bugs. Low-level plotting interface. We have Subspace farming components crate, which is used by farmer. It is used by tests. It's like a low-level component that you can use to do all kinds of plotting. So that's technically done. I have posted some research, some preliminary numbers in terms of performance, memory usage, and stuff like that in the research channel. Then there is implementation farm. Benches are not running yet, or I ran it, but it is buggy, so I will not post numbers until I fix. So also nice. In the process of working on that, I have G and Chia proof of space, downstream and upstream. It's a combination, and there were some non-breaking changes merged back into the main branch for Gemini 3D. There will be more changes like that that are breaking this week. And there will also be hopefully implementation for the revision for the 2.3 consensus. And hopefully there will be a pull request this week that ties all of that together into the working block production, verification, and stuff like that. We will see if I can manage to get it actually finished this week. But that will be the focus for me.
Great. Jamil.
Last week, I was focusing on the DSN connectivity issue. We actually, I DSN Gemini 3D from a local machine. Turned out that it was connected with network collisions between Gemini 3C and Gemini 3D. And the immediate fix for that is to implement network partitions similar to the Subspace framework with hash protocol name. And if these Genesis hashes are different, then we ban respective peers on each side. And this way, we just partition the networks. And we should have decrease not peer number is a small network like Gemini 3D. So that was the fix. I also implemented the fix for DSN online status porting, which basically allowed me to farm even in Gemini 3D. So it's a small improvement that pauses all the operations for getting pieces if we don't have a stable connection. So that's it. This week I will respond for the PR comments for the network partitioning and implement partitioning part 2 for the request response protocols. That's it.
Great. Rahul.
Yeah, so last week I got the compact blocks implementation working. So I discovered an issue where it always goes to the slow path, and the transactions are not found in its local transaction pool. So that's what I'm chasing right now. The goal for this week would be to deploy the changes in the test devnet and also get some benchmarking, initial benchmarking numbers on the compact block implementation. That's it.
Okay, switching to domains. Chang.
Okay, so last week I was primarily busy with fixing the exact issue emerged on Gemini 3D. The root cause was that multiple primary blocks can produce one single identical codomain block. And we check the receipts using the domain block hash, leading to a collision like of the receipts stored on the exact local database. So the receipts from the fork block is always submitted incorrectly. The solution is to check the receipts using the domain block hash instead of the derived domain block hash as the key in the database, which also simplifies the codes to some extent. Apart from that, I also finalized the last PR, the embedded state transition event. The main focus of this week is to implement new kinds of fraud proof. I'll probably go with the embedded transaction proof. Yeah, that's it.
Great. Ning.
Hi guys. For last week, I also working on testing, and I had located and fixed the issue that caused the tag fail on CI, which is related to issue with the upstream library video of substrate use. It's called the async channels, and which also affects substrate. So I also opened the PR to report this bug and propose some solution. And besides that, I also had some tests for the bundle validators and the fault proof. And also working on integrate the testing framework with the host domain messaging, which is still work in progress. And for this week, the primary working on integrate the testing framework with host domain messaging. And also, I will try to fix the substrate bug once we get some positive feedback from the maintenance. Yeah, that will be my update.
Good.
Yeah, research. The first half mostly spent time looking at our rewards and slashing, and had to switch gears because of priority change, and I started looking at Frontier. Looking good so far. I was able to get some runtime up and running with Frontier in there, but didn't integrate with our domain yet. Let me see what the priorities are and then get jump onto that. That's pretty much it. My week this week.
For clarity, Frontier, we're talking about the EVM, adding an EVM domain using the Frontier palette, right?
Yeah, sorry about that.
Just for everybody else.
Yeah. Frontier, yeah, EVM, yeah. Frontier is the EVM implementation of Rust on Substrate that we would bring in an entire Ethereum with RPCs or just EVM execution itself.
Great. Parth.
Yeah, so from my side, last week I created a live client proxy to encapsulate the current Snowfork live client. The reasoning behind this is to like there are first one is to provide a standard interface for all the live client in future, and the second is to have a support for feeds. I have also integrated it with palette feeds on my local. Once I taste it enough, I will open a PR. Apart from that, demo supposed to happen either today or tomorrow, but it got delayed due to my sick leave last week. I'll be releasing like the updated timeline for this would be on Wednesday. I will either release a video or have a call on Wednesday. This week's primary goal, demo as well as PR for the Palette Light Client proxy. Still working on the name, but yeah.
Great. Transitioning to product.
Hey everyone. Yeah, so well, I think that the largest update is about the leadership offsite. I have a few initiatives coming up, some new hires that are looking into a dev SDK. This is something that will be very important this quarter, and working some activities around the team cadence. So mostly planning around these three things. Also a lot of discussion with Jeremy on how we can improve that. This week primary goal is kicking off the work for the SDK. So we want to begin immediately to work on this piece of software for the developers. It's not the SDK that Ivan is building, it's a developer SDK. I have no blockers in particular. I'm doing this week remotely from New York, so I will be maybe a little bit moving around with some, maybe connection, but so far so good.
All right. Serge.
Hi everyone. So last week health check service was finalized, and I deployed it to all the droplets related to Block Explorer, and also updated the status page points. So the page should already be up to date. There is only one service that is currently down, which is a Gemini 2 processor. It was stopped last week, as discussed, because there is no disk space for new blocks. Old blocks are still available. On the Block Explorer, I did some kind of QA. I discovered 7 UI issues. Natasha has already fixed share. And there were a lot of discussion on the account page design, with threads on the potential enhancements for the event page, extrinsics page. So this week I plan to test a blue-green deployment if it's ready on the Muhammad's side. Also set up infrastructure for Gemini 3D, Block Explorer, Squid, and Archive. Start implementation of the UI for the new account page. Update above mentioned pages based on our discussions, and hopefully start working on the filtering for extrinsics and events. That's it.
Natasha.
Hello, everyone. For me, last week, I spent some time working on solving some of the issues that search find on the Block Explorer to make better user experience. Also work on the search by hash for block and extrinsics. Fixed PR for that is up. As a PR, I will be uploading today after some more testing on the result page for extrinsics that bring more than one result, and also work on completing some of the UI for the filtering in the extrinsics logs and event pages. This week goal is to close the search by hashes feature, and also start working on the account page redesign.
Great. Yvonne.
Hey guys. So last week I've mainly focused on the SDK side on getting in shape for Gemini 3D release. So also apart from that, I had support for allowing fetching block offer so that we could notify users that they actually farm the block. Yeah, apart from that, I updated telemetry. We updated the GeoIP database, which maps essentially that IPs to location on the map. Yeah, that's kind of it for last week. This week I'll focus on the Gemini 3D. Also, I will try to add support for sending extrinsics from the SDK. Yeah, and maybe if I will have time, I will add runtime reflection so that we could generate some docs for the CLI. Yeah, that's it.
Great. Ozgen.
Hello. Last week I worked on overhauling the summary logic after Daria's question. She asked that if the farm block count is real or valid. So now the overhauling, we are now showing 3 main information. One of them is farm block, the other one is count of voted blocks, and the third one is total rewards earned by the farmer. So, and after that, I implemented some error propagating for subscriptions and tested all the new changes, fixed the errors that I could find. I think it's ready to publish. Finalized the FFT article with respect to Alexander's revised images. And in fact, I did release the new version for CLI, but we got a failure from the CI, which is kill 9. It's possibly out of memory, and I was able to confirm that with setting LTO off, and that fixed it. Right now, I'm doing the final tests tests related workflow. And I think tonight or tomorrow morning, we will be releasing a new CI version. This week, my primary goal is that getting that release problem solved as soon as possible, hopefully integration workflow, because there is a minor bug about it. I know how to fix it, and start working on the new features we will have for CLI. That's all.
All right. Looks to me like that is everyone who is here. Did I miss anybody? All right. Well, we will see all of you back next week. If I can figure out how to turn off recording. There we go. Okay, bye.